There are lots of reasons that people go gluten-free and dairy-free. Our reason is allergies. But getting rid of or eliminating gluten and dairy in your diet can also provide a lot of health benefits. Problem is, there are a lot of things that we love to eat that have dairy or gluten in them. Today's case in point, pancakes. Finding the right balance in a recipe for gluten-free, dairy-free pancakes has been a bit of a journey for the BG. Some recipes were too rubbery, some were too tough, some fell apart too easily, but we finally got the recipe just right and we're sharing it with you today. After watching this video, head over to our new website and download your copy of our recipe, including our variations for apple and pumpkin pancakes. And if you love gluten and dairy, we've got a recipe for you too. So grab your griddle and let's get stacking. So let's talk equipment. You'll need a griddle. This one will cook 8 pancakes at a time. And you'll need what you see here: a mixing bowl, a spatula, a whisk, a ladle, measuring cups and spoons, and a small bowl and paper towel, which you'll use to help cover your griddle with oil. For ingredients, let's first talk about the wet ingredients you'll need, which include eggs, hazelnut milk, and oil. You can also use soy or almond milk, but we lean towards hazelnut milk because we like the flavor. You'll also need these dry ingredients that you see here. I know the number of dry ingredients seems overwhelming, but my guess is if you're actually watching this video, it won't matter to you how many ingredients are involved because you really need these guys to be gluten-free. Also, keep in mind that you can use these dry ingredients for a lot of other recipes like muffins, waffles, and cornbread. So anyway, here's the recipe that we're working from. You can see that to make pancakes dairy-free, you're going to simply replace milk with a milk substitute. To make them gluten-free is much trickier, and it's the reason why we're giving you our recipe. Okay, let's get to it. So your first step is to combine all your wet ingredients, starting with 3 eggs. Then you're going to add 1.5 cups of hazelnut milk. You can use the same measuring cup for your next ingredient, which is 1 tablespoon oil. And you can do it just like BG's doing here, where you eyeball it and kind of just put it into your measuring cup. Then you're going to add your hazelnut meal, which is about 3/8 of a cup. I prefer calling it 6 tablespoons, whichever is easier for you. Then you're going to need 1 tablespoon of potato starch. Then comes your white rice flour, 5 tablespoons of that. And you can see here that BG is again eyeballing his ingredients because he's got a very good sense of volume. Then you're going to add 3/4 cup of sorghum flour. I can't just eyeball it. I would be measuring these ingredients a lot more meticulously. Next, you have your 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. And then you're going to need to put in 2 tablespoons of baking powder. Finally, you're going to add your xanthan gum, about 3/4 teaspoon of that. Mix together until the mixture is smooth. Now, since you're making gluten-free pancakes, it doesn't matter how much you mix here. You can't overmix this because there's no gluten in it. If you're making regular pancakes, it is possible to overmix that batter because the more you work the batter, the more the gluten will bind together and turn your batter into a dough. And that makes for some very rubbery pancakes. Once you're done mixing, let the mixture stand for 20 minutes. Be sure not to skip this step because it will keep your pancakes from becoming too grainy, which is a common complaint that people have. But they're grainy because the flour wasn't hydrated enough by the wet ingredients. But if you give your batter enough time to rest at this point, you'll avoid this problem. Check your consistency to make sure the batter isn't too thin or too thick. It should look like this, not runny and not a big old glob of dough. Then get out your griddle and set it to 325. Lightly oil it by spreading oil over all sides of the griddle like BG is showing you here using a small paper towel. Now we're first going to show you what just right pancakes look like, and then we'll go over some of the trouble spots in making pancakes. So first what you're going to do is ladle a pancake onto the griddle like BG's showing you here. After a few minutes, you're going to check for browning. You're not going to be looking for bubbling as you would in a glutinous pancake. Instead, after a few minutes, just lift up a side of the pancake and check for browning. Now, about how to flip these pancakes, you got to do it fast and do it confidently. The more careful you're trying to be, the worse your result is going to be. So don't try to slowly flip these guys. After they've cooked enough on the other side, it's time to stack them up. Take out a plate, pick them up one at a time, and arrange them nicely on your platter to serve to your company. Now let's take a look at some pancake problems. The first being the problem of consistency. What happens when your batter is too thin or too thick? Now, I hope you can tell right away that there is something definitely wrong with these. The one on the right looks more like a pancake bisque if it were a soup, and the one on the left looks like muffin batter. You can see that the too thin pancake is actually really hard to pick up and turn, and then after it's cooked, it falls apart really easily. It just looks generally sad. With the too thick pancake, we were a little shocked that it actually cooked all the way through, but no one wants a pancake like this. Another problem in cooking pancakes is using a griddle that's too hot. Now here you can see that this pancake is already browner than it should be at this point, even though the batter isn't cooked very well. It's still wiggly, and we figured out in our experimentation that too hot and too thin tend to have the same problems. The pancakes overheat quickly and then they suffer for it. Here's what the pancake looks like when you cut it in half. You can see it isn't cooked very well. It's got an uneven consistency. Not good, not something you'd want to be a part of. So what happens when the griddle is too cold? Well, you can see that the pancake is really hard to flip because it's so undercooked even after a few minutes. And you definitely know something's wrong when the pancake turns into South Carolina. Which I gotta say, I think is definitely some kind of sign. Of what? I have no idea. I mean, should we move to South Carolina? Are people in South Carolina watching this? Wait, is Stephen Colbert watching this? Let us know what you think in the comments. Now, everyone likes to top their pancakes differently. BG loves maple syrup, especially this kind from Goodell Farms in Ohio. A pro tip here for limiting your sugar intake: put your maple syrup in a squeeze bottle like this and then drizzle it on top. That's right, drizzle.
Don't pour, you animals. You only get one body.
Whoa, sorry, thought she was in bed. Here's another tip for lowering your sugar intake, especially you chocolate lovers. Instead of using maple syrup, use Boar's Head dark chocolate hummus. It's got only 6 grams of sugar per 2 tablespoons compared to the 28 grams of sugar in maple syrup. Spread it like butter between a stack of pancakes and oh my god, you're welcome. Thanks for joining us for the second part in our breakfast series. Coming up, it's egg time, baby. Stop making rubbery, burnt, flakified eggs and start making creamy, rich eggs without the dairy. Yeah, you heard me. We'll show you how. Subscribe to us and check out our new website where you can download and print directions and recipes that we've made.
Thanks for joining us on our final freezer.
Oh no.
That just looks terrible.
You're making a muffin? Oh.
Sweet.
No.
There we go.
Ooh. Thanks for joining us on our
final freezer.
Okay. One more time. Wait, oh, hold on. Do you know what to say? Okay, go.
Thanks for joining us on our final freezer.